Hey everyone, I'm going to take a look at the new Champions League Player of the Week selection on eFootball. I've already reviewed the regular Player of the Week pack. If you want to check that review out, it's live on the channel now, as is the new Player Face video. There's going to be a few more videos to come, and there's 1 or 2 more Player Face videos, and the next video is going to be the buy-in pack review, where I review all the players in the buy-in pack, and also the Sasha Boy card in the point store, and the position change cards. So there's a few videos coming up on the channel in the next few days. Keep your eyes out for those, but for this one, as always, timestamps in the description. If you want to check out a particular player, there'll be a timestamp in the description that will take you straight to them. And we have all 5 stars. We'll start with the lowest rated. We'll start with our goalie, and that is Wellenreuther from Feyenoord. No face count on this guy. Attacking goalie. He's kind of solid, just not amazing. Doesn't have a low punch, high punch, and long throw. It's the first time I've had a feature version of him. Yeah, to be honest, it's not a bad goalie this, but it's not a great one either. 6'1" is not the tallest for a goalie. Fairly average height. The reach isn't brilliant at 84. Awareness and reflexes reasonable but not amazing. Catching's pretty good. Powering not great. There's nothing terrible about this guy. He's just not that great. You know, he's not got amazing reach, and his attributes just aren't quite on the level that I think you'd probably want from a Player of the Week goalie. So yeah, it's not a bad one. If you really need a goalkeeper option, you could probably do a job. But you know, we don't get a Dutch League challenge, and like I say, he's just not quite on the level to be a particularly great goalkeeper really from one of these packs. So not a bad one, but not really a great one either. And next we have another Ivan Perišić. So cross specialist, that's what he usually is. Obviously he's got a face scan. He's at PSV these days. We've had a couple of Player of the Week cards at Perišić. Both pretty similar overall to this one. But the stats are kind of shuffled around a bit higher and lower in certain areas, but pretty similar overall. We've had quite a few trainable versions of Perišić over the last few years. We've had a creative playmaker, we've had a whole player. We've had a bunch of cross specialists. Like I say, that's his usual playing style. This card looks like it's pretty much the best one, to be honest, in terms of the overall rating. But the stats are shuffled around a bit. Like I say, every version of him that we get, they shuffle him around. He's a bit less pace on some of them. Maybe someone who's got a bit better on the ball. But overall, it is up there. It's one of the better versions of Perišić, if not the best statistically. There's one in the. I think you get it with David Villa in the coin store. For those who've been picked up that one, this one is slightly better than that one. But like I say, it's the same deal. Overall, slightly better, but the stats are shuffled around a bit. And from his GP card, they've mainly boosted him in a bunch of areas, to be fair, from his GP card. So he's got a bit more pace. He's physical and aerial. Defending, of course, on an attacking player. Ball control's up a bit. Finishing. Lost a couple of points off balance. Always seems to be the case with these attacking players. But yeah, he's a good version of Perišić. It's just one of these cards where it depends on which attributes you prioritize. You know, if you've got a good trainable version from before, then you know it might be slightly worse overall. But he might have better dribbling, might have more attacking awareness. It just depends on which attributes you prioritize. But certainly on the whole, this is a good version of Perišić. I don't think they've really changed much about it from his GP card. It looks like the same playing style. Same skills and everything. He's got a pretty good selection of skills. Obviously, for a cross specialist, you want pinpoint crossing, and he's got that. He's got 85 lofted pass with a maximum game plan boost. That'll go to 88. So he's got a good cross on him. Long range kill, longer shooting. He's very two-footed, this guy. So whichever flank you play him on, left or right, he can cut inside, he can go outside. That is handy. He's also got heading, and he's got reasonable physicals. So he could pop up with a header now and then. If you play out wide, you will find sometimes your wing on the far side will come in at the far post and get on the end of a cross now and then, and it's quite unusual for a winger to be as decent in the air as this guy is. So that's something to keep in mind if you do if you do play that way, and if you like a cross specialist, then you probably do. So yeah, this is a card where with that cross specialist playing style, he's a very particular type of player. You play him any of these wide positions. You can play him as an SS with an active playing style as well. You could do that. He's not bad in that position, but if you do play him out wide as a cross specialist, he will hug the touchline. He'll stay out wide most of the time and look to get in positions to cross the ball. He won't be coming inside too often. So yeah, he's a very particular type of player. But if that type of player does suit you, it's a solid card. It's not an amazing one. He's not got electric pace. He's not amazing on the ball. His balance is dodgy as well. So in some areas he's not so great, but in the most important area with the crossing, a little bit of pace, the skills he's got, he's pretty handy. I've had a few versions of Perišić. I've got 2 or 3 of them that I've got a whole player and a cross specialist. I think I may have just spun this guy actually yesterday from this pack. I'm struggling to remember because I've got 2 accounts. But yeah, I've got him on one of my accounts, and he looks pretty useful if you're going to be playing that way. But like I say, if you don't like to put crosses in, if you don't want your wingers staying out wide all the time, that playing style won't work for you out wide. But as an SS maybe, got a couple of shooting skills there. Finishing's reasonable. Attacking wise is alright. He's not too bad technically. He could do a job for you as an SS, but yeah, like I say, as much as he's got some strengths, he's got good skills. The fact he's very two-footed, can play out the flank, very useful. Could be a versatile one, but on the downside, there's just nothing that amazing about him. These attributes, just, you know, a lot of people would want your winger to have a bit more pace and more dribbling, and the playing style might not suit you. And again, Eredivisie, we don't get a Dutch League challenge, so how useful is he going to be for you? You know, I'm not sure that many people would find him that useful, but certainly as an option as a winger, if you play that way, if you like putting crosses in, he could be useful one. He's certainly one of the better versions we've had of Perišić, so if he works for you, he could be a really handy one to pick up. But I think for quite a lot of people, he might not be so great. And next we have this massive guy from Club Brugge, or Bruges, however you say it. 197 centimeters target man. You know exactly what you're getting with this guy. He does not have a face scan, but he's just a big physical dude, and you're going to be aiming crosses and long balls for him. So they've not changed a lot about this guy from his GP card. It's the first time I've had a featured version. He's been boosted on the ball from his GP card, and his passing, his defending and his physicals. Again, on an attacking player have been boosted. I mean, the physicals are helpful, obviously, in a target man. That is good. More jump and stuff. So yeah, it's a good version of him if you like this guy, and if you do like a target man. The size of this guy is 6'5", 6'6". He's big. He does have aerial superiority, of course. What have they added here skill-wise? They've added one-touch pass, track back, super sub, good, and fighting spirit, cool. So as a target man, especially as a super sub, you throw him on second half, could be really dangerous. I'm not sure he's going to have the most amazing vertical reach though, because yes, he's very tall, yes, he's got aerial superiority, but 78 jumping. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is one of those cards where you look at him, he's a target man, he's a very particular type of striker. Obviously, he's all about his aerial ability. But how good is he? Is he going to be absolutely dominant in the air? I'm not so sure. He will be strong, but if you're going to have a target man, I always say, if you've got a target man, not just in terms of playing style, but in terms of what he's good at and, you know, and the strengths he's got, if his strength is going to be being a big physical guy who's going to win headers for you, I'm going to want him to be really dominant in the air. And as much as he's going to be good in the air, I just don't think he's going to be dominant. I don't think he's going to be that good. He is quite decent technically for a target man. I'll give him his dues. You know, on the ball, he's actually decent for a target man. The low pass is decent. He's got a one-touch pass, albeit he doesn't have through passing. The awareness and finishing are kind of okay-ish. He's a decent target man on the whole. But like I say, if he's got that playing style and if his main strength is going to be what, you know, the aerial and physical ability, I just don't think he's quite dominant enough in the air for me to really consider a particularly good card. But it's certainly not a bad one. I think a lot of people could have fun with this guy whipping in crosses and scoring headers. And one other negative is that they've not given him gamesmanship, which I think is bizarre because the game he's got this card from, he won that penalty at the end of the game when he threw himself to the ground as though he'd been shot in the face just because he felt the breeze of Hean's fingers just close to his neck. It's just one of those challenges where Hean's got the ball and he just kind of brushed Nilsson off, had his hand sort of near his neck, and the guy threw himself down. Pathetic, really. But yeah, where's gamesmanship? Come on, Konami. But yeah. Also, he's lacking acrobatic finishing. Just noticed that. So he got heading and aerial, but no acrobatic finishing. So yeah, there are a few things missing from this guy. I would like him to be a bit more dominant in the air. I like acrobatic finishing, but he's got qualities. And for a target man, he could certainly do a job for a lot of people. But he's a very particular type of striker. And like I say, in one or two areas, he's just not quite as good as I'd like him to be. But if you do like that kind of striker, I imagine quite a few people would have a bit of fun with this guy and score quite a few headers with him. Next we have Igor Paixão from Feyenoord after he scored against Milan, although Mainon should have saved it really. He's got a face scan. He's a creative playmaker this time. He's normally a prolific winger. They've made him a creative playmaker and they made him a left midfielder. They've added left midfield as a fully proficient position. We've had a previous Player of the Week version of this guy. It was a right midfield roaming flank. And we've had a training ball in some kind of legend box at some point. That was a prolific winger, left wing. Both of those fairly similar overall in terms of the attributes, to be honest. Not a massive difference really. What they've done from his GP card, we've lost a bit of acceleration, we've lost a bit of attacking awareness, but incredibly on an attacking player and Player of the Week, we've gained a few points on balance. Wow, that's unusual. We've also had a bit of a boost on finishing, of course, and physicals. That's where the boost is mainly. Yeah, it's a decent version of him. He's got pace, he's pretty good on the ball. He's got a finish. His attacking awareness will go over 80 with the game plan boost, but that creative playmaker playing style, I always say it, and it's just personal preference, but for me, on a wide man, I want my wide men to make attacking runs. I want them making runs into the box, getting into attacking positions. A creative playmaker is going to hold back a lot. He's not going to be so aggressive with his attacking runs. If that works for you, great. You might really like this guy, but is he a playmaker with 72 low pass? Has he got through passing? Yeah, he's got through passing, I suppose. But still, 72 low pass, I don't think that playing style really suits him. I would much prefer he's either a roaming flank or a whole player from left midfield, but I don't know. It is what it is. Certainly with the attributes, pace, good technically, he can score a goal. He might be a pretty decent card for a lot of people, but let's have a look at the skills. What they've done. So they've added double touch, soul control. Hello. So we've got double touch, flip flap, soul control. There's your ball roll, double touch. The dribblers will be pleased with that. Long range shooting, of course, for his goal. Dipping shot. Did he hit a dipping shot? I guess. I think sombrero has been removed. I think we can live without that. So yeah, we got a few skill moves. The dribblers will be pleased with all of that, and then we got dipping shot, long range shooting, first time shot, and through passing. The through passing will improve is through passes obviously, but they're not going to be great still with 72 for low pass. But with a few shooting skills, shame he doesn't have long range curler. If he had a long range curler, I think that would really make a difference. That is such an important one for an inverted winger. But even without it, first time shot, long range shooting, that finishing attribute over 80 before your game plan boost. He could be a pretty tidy card. I think really it's a bit of a shame he's not got long range curler. The passing could be better, and the playing style won't work for everyone, albeit it may well work for you. If it does, great. It could be a handy card with the pace, the technical ability, the dribbling, coming off that left flank to play make, I guess. But certainly to get some shots away and score goals. I think for a lot of people it could be a handy little winger to pick up. But like I say, slightly frustrating he's not got long range curler. The passing could be better, and I don't think the playing style really suits him, but plenty of qualities there, and I think quite a few people could have quite a bit of fun with him. But again, Dutch League Challenge, no, don't get that, do we? So is he good enough to get any team for divisions? Your Brazil squad maybe? I don't know. Maybe. It is a decent card. For a lot of people, we could have a lot of fun with it. It's just not an amazing one. And now we have a booster. We've got Federico Gatti from Juventus, who is normally a build-up. This time he is a destroyer. He has a booster. Let's just activate the booster straight away. What's that? Defending? Dueling. There we go. So, this is a good version of Gatti. We've had a Player of the Week extra frontman. This one is slightly better, but it's mainly due to the pace, really. Apart from the pace boost on this one, not a massive difference between this one and the previous Player of the Week. And obviously the playing style is very different. Extra frontman's very different. There's a trainable in some kind of legend box, pretty similar overall, but again, the pace is the big difference, although that one had better defending and physical attributes. So on the whole, that one's probably a bit better, but if pace is important to you in a centre-back, you might prefer this one, but obviously that one is trainable. It is the pace that's had one of the things they boosted the most from his GP card. Stamina as well. Again, it's the usual thing with these centre-backs in Player of the Week. The right column and sometimes the left column get the boost, so the pace is up, the stamina's up, the jumping's up. The defensive attributes have shuffled around a bit, to be honest. When he's on the A form boost, they've been shuffled, but they're pretty similar overall. But when he's not got the A form boost, he has actually been nerfed a bit defensively, so pretty annoying. You think if he's changed from a build-up to a destroyer, they'd be focusing on his defending ability more than anything else, but they've nerfed it for some reason, so that doesn't make sense to me. But certainly on the A form boost, pretty solid looking centre back. Unwavering form, pace is very decent for a centre back. Physical contact's good, jumping's not so great. He is 6'3", and he does have aerial superiority, so he'll be alright in the air, but he won't be amazing. He won't have the most amazing vertical reach. Engagement's a bit iffy. I don't like engagement being too low on a destroyer. It's important in general, but on a destroyer especially, I find if a destroyer's got low defensive engagement, they do tend to get caught out positionally, in my experience. But certainly on A form, the awareness and tackling are good. When he's not on A form, solid but not amazing. I think you do need the A form boost on this guy, really. But yeah, looking at the skills in a bit more detail, what they've done with the skills, I don't think they've taken anything away. They've just added one touch pass, low lofted pass, acrobatic clearance I think is new, and blocker. So looks like we've got good searching skills in a centre back, heading and aerial, and then the rest of the defences, man marking, interception, blocker, slide, and acrobatic pass. Yeah, I think we've got just about every defensive skill for a centre back. And then one touch pass and low lofted pass with some reasonable defending attributes. This is a pretty solid centre back on the whole. Just like I say, those defensive attributes, even on A form, they're not amazing. A form, I think they're decent enough, certainly. Without the A form boost, a little bit on the low side. Apart from that, yeah, he's not going to be dominant in the air, but he should be strong enough. So I think on the whole, he's all right. He's not amazing, but he's a solid one. I think certainly for Juventus fans, it'll be a really good one to pick up. And before I forget, he has his face scan. Italian league change. If you don't have too many good centre-back options for the Italian league change, for that reason, it could be a decent one to pick up and keep hold of. Got unwavering form as well. And a very good selection of skills. So yeah, there's a lot to be said for this guy. I just think in terms of the most important attributes, the defending attributes and his vertical reach, just a little bit lacking, especially when he's not an A form. But that's the only complaint really, because apart from that, he's pretty good. He's had a nice boost to his pace especially. And he's a pretty solid centre-back on the whole. And now we have another centre-back. We've got António Silva from Benfica. He has a face scan as well. He's a build-up. That's his normal playing style. And yeah, he's another solid-looking centre-back. Slightly better than his previous Player of the Week card. And he's pretty similar to the better kind of trainable. I mean, there's only been a few trainables. There's one nominating contract which was probably not quite as good as this, but not far off. And then the other two are pretty close, really. To be honest, there's just a bit more speed and jumping on this one. That's the only major difference really between this and the other previous versions. That's where he's had the most boost really. And the left column there, especially with the passing, has been boosted a bit. And yeah, that right column, it's the usual kind of thing with the Player of the Week centre-back. So pretty solid. Let's look at his skills, what they've done with his skills. Again, I don't think they've removed anything. They just added weighted pass, fighting spirit is new, and aerial superiority, which he was lacking. Excuse me. So man marking, session blocker, aerial sliding. He's got most of the skills he needs for a centre back. If you're going to be really kind of picky, then you could say he needs heading, he needs acrobatic clearance. Probably those two are the first two you would want to put on him if you could, but obviously you can't with these cards. But he's got he's got all the most important ones really. So he's got a good selection of skills, even if one or two, could do with one or two extra ones. Defensive attributes pretty good. The awareness and tackling hitting the 90 mark with your game plan boost, aggression and engagement not quite, but not far off. Down the left he's alright, he's decent enough for a centre back. The pace is pretty good for a centre back. Aerial and physically, is he good enough? I mean, he's about 6'1", almost 6'2". Jumping 84, he's not going to have the most amazing vertical reach, even though they've added aerial, which will help. Physical 85, I'll go to 88 with the game plan boost. So yeah, similar to Gatti really, you've got a pretty solid centre back here. It's just not an amazing one. I think most people at this point probably have better centre back options, but he can certainly do a job for you. But again, where are you going to use him? We don't get a Portuguese league challenge. Is he good enough to get your team for divisions? Do you rock a Portugal squad? I mean, if you're quite new to the game, he'd be a useful option for you. And there's not much particularly bad about him, but I just think aerially and physically, he's just a little bit lacking. And maybe he's one or two skills lacking, but that is being a bit harsh. He's certainly a good centre-back. He's a good version of António Silva. Just on the whole, especially with the aerial and physical, he's not that amazing. He's not quite on the level for I think for most people. Certainly, if you spin legend packs, if you've got more than one or two kind of legend centre-backs, you're not going to really get much use out of this guy. But if you don't have that many great centre-backs, I think certainly, like I say, it's not a bad centre-back card at all. It's just like with Gatti, he might not be amazing, but he's a solid one. Just could be a solid option for a lot of people, which is not a particularly exciting one, I don't think. And now we have Brahim Díaz. Again, we've had him a bunch of times in Player of the Week, this guy. So, got a face scan. He's a creative playmaker. They've added right midfield as a position. They made that pretty proficient. He's got the rest of his normal positions. We had a previous Champions League Player of the Week card that was very similar. Had the same playing style. Very similar profile. This one's got a bit more awareness and finishing, whereas that previous one was a bit better on the ball. Apart from that, very similar. There was a whole player Champions League Player of the Week card, which I think is the best version of him that we've had. Was better on the ball than this. It was a booster one, that one. He was better on the ball. Had a big boost on his physical contact, that one. And the way the game is these days, that's very important. It can be a difference maker. So that whole player Champions League one, I think, is the best one. But overall, similar kind of rating to this one, really. But yeah, that one for me is the pick. There's been a few regular Player of the Week versions of Brahim Díaz, but this one's better than those, I think. Just a little bit better on the whole. Trainable wise, we've had a bunch of versions of this guy. He used to be a 4-star. I've had a couple of versions, and the two versions I had were only 4 stars. They're pretty neat. He's nice on the ball. He's got a low centre of gravity. He's pretty good on the ball, good balance and stuff. Quite nippy. But the more recent ones, if you look at the one that was in a recent Legend box, or at least recent-ish, and also the one that's in the current national team players, rest of the world, whatever you call it, that's available for the next week and a half, I think. So there's another version you can get from that pack of this guy. I would say that one, those two more recent versions of them that are trainable, probably a bit better than this one on the whole. And they are trainable as well. You can shuffle the points around. So those two for me are preferable, but this is still a good version of him. If you're interested, if you look at his GP card, if you train his GP card up on auto allocation, this version has better awareness and finishing, and he is obviously better on the whole. But apart from awareness and finishing, the important attributes on the ball, pace and so on, there's not a massive difference really. I think the kind of boost to his overall rating comes largely not just from the awareness and finishing, but otherwise from defending and physicals, where he's had a bit of a boost. So I don't think it's that amazing a version of Brahim Díaz, to be perfectly honest. Like I say, the defending and physicals, they seem to do this on a lot of these player of the week attacking players. They put like 5 to 10 points on a load of defending and physical attributes, which aren't really important, certainly defending, and that just kind of nudges their overall rating up, I guess, by 1 or 2, and I guess that's designed to just make them look better than they are. But like I say, compared to his GP card, yeah, awareness and finishing's up and he's boosted on the whole, but on the ball, passing, pace, etc., is he that much better? Not really. So yeah, it is a good version of him, though. It's a good card in itself. I mean, if you look at it in isolation, let's look at the skills, what they've done skill wise. So they've taken away, we've lost Marseille turn. That seems to be one of those skills that when they take it away, there's a lot of people who don't like that. It's quite a popular skill, it seems. I'm not really one for skills, so I'm not an expert on that, but they've taken away Marseille turn. I think they've taken away chop turn, and Rabona, I think, is missing as well. And what have they given him? First time shot, that's a good one. Outside curler, likewise. He's already quite two-footed though, is he not? Yeah, he's already very two-footed, so he doesn't really need outside curler. And they give him super sub, nice. So he's a handy super sub. So you got first time shot, then you got the one touch and through passing. His low pass is decent at 85, not amazing. Depends where you play him. Certainly, if you play him out wide, his passing is good with one touch passing, through passing as well. So good passing. He's tidy on the ball, not as good as he often is. Like I said, there's 2 trainable ones on auto allocation, better on the ball. I think most people would probably put more points on the ball, but it depends where your priorities are. He's certainly good enough on the ball, good attacking awareness. Again though, creative playmaker out wide. Is that playing style going to work for the out wide? For me, I don't like it. I can get away with it. I've got some players like Di Maria who are great playmaker, and I've had a lot of fun with him out wide, but I prefer a roaming flank or hole player as a wide midfielder, making more attacking runs. But if that playing style works for the out wide, then he could be a very neat one. As much as I said with Paixão that he's not got the passing to really suit the playmaker playing style, Díaz does as a wide man. If you actually like a wide playmaker with the passing he's got, that playing style, it does go together quite well. It matches up quite well, so it could be a really nice one for you if this is your kind of profile. Like I say, decent pace, decent balance on the ball. He's pretty nice. He does feel nice in my experience. He's nimble. He's responsive. He's got a bit of an end product with his passing, and he's got a finishing going over 80 with the game plan boost, and he's got a first time shot. So long range curler would be nice, but even without it, with first time shot, and he's got a decent finishing attribute, you could certainly score some goals for you as well. And as I mentioned, he's very two-footed, and he's got outside curler, so you can play him as a wide left forward, or you can play him down the right wing as well. You've got the option. He's versatile. He could be a pretty neat little card to pick up. Just like I say, he's not quite the best version of him. There's been 1 or 2 previous ones, trainables, and that whole player of the week that I think are better than this one. Comparing through the middle as well. Is his passing good enough through the middle? I think it's borderline attacking mid. You can certainly get away with it. SS, I think it'll be fine. SS, he could be a very useful option. His playing style will be active in all of his positions. So whatever position you play him in, he's a creative playmaker. And yeah, like I say, he's a useful one. He's versatile. It's not the best version of Díaz, and in my opinion, the one that's in the current national team pack, whatever it's called, I would say it's slightly better than this one. Not least because you can train it, but this is still a good version in isolation. If you don't have a good version of him, if you get this card, give him a try, because like I say, he's versatile. He feels nice in the ball in my experience, and he could be a very good option for the Spanish League Challenge as well, especially with that versatility. So not the best Brahim Díaz card, but it's a pretty good one if it all matches up together. You know, matches up well for you with the playing style, the attributes he's got. I think for quite a lot of people, it could be a really fun card to pick up. And now we've got an Upamecano card. So I got the previous Champions League Player of the Week card of Upamecano, and it's been really good for me. That was a build-up as well. He's actually a destroyer these days. They've changed his playing style to what he used to be, which is a build-up. That previous Champions League one, really the big difference is that this one's got a bit more acceleration and stamina, where he was lacking on that previous one, but he's not quite got as much on his defense, some of his defensive attributes and his physical and aerial attributes. So pros and cons compared to the previous one. Overall, I think it's the same rating. I think they're both 95 rated. But like I say, not quite so much on the most important attributes, but he has had a boost elsewhere with acceleration and stamina, which are important ones. He was lacking a bit on that previous card. So yeah, if I got this one, it'd be a tough decision, to be honest. But this is a good version of him. I will say that, yes, they've taken a few points away from some of the defending attributes, but he's still high enough. It would be nice if the engagement was one higher, just so you could hit 90 with the maximum game plan boost, because the rest of them are going 90 plus. But on the whole, yeah, he's strong defensively. Fairly nice passing attributes for a centre-back. Good pace. Jumping and physical, again, you know, he's only 6'1". He's not short for a centre-back, but he's not particularly tall either. He's not going to have amazing jumping reach. Physical strength is decent enough, though. He does have aerial superiority, of course. What they've done skill-wise, they've added through passing, interesting, and they've taken away, I think, acrobatic clearance. So that's a nice addition, but I think I prefer acrobatic clearance than a centre-back. On the whole, he's got a good selection. You've got heading and aerial. You've got man marking, interception blocker, sliding for experience. So the only one defensively we're missing now is the one they've taken away, which is acrobatic clearance. Do you really want through passing on a centre-back? It's a nice one to have. I guess it's pros and cons. Some would prefer through passing to acrobatic clearance. Others maybe not. But through passing, weight pass, load off the pass. The passing attributes are decent for centre-back. So he's going to have decent passing on him. Pros and cons, really. But yeah, it's a good version of on the whole. Like I say, that previous Champions League one, just those few attributes that are shuffled around. But similar overall. We've had a regular player of the week one that was a destroyer. Very similar, to be honest. Just this one's got a bit more passing and kicking power. And a different playing style, obviously. We've had a lot of trainable versions of Upamecano by now. We've had loads of trainable versions. The better ones tend to have a bit more, slightly higher attributes, again, with the defending and the physicals, but it's the stamina, acceleration, and the passing as well. So pros and cons, it just depends where you would prioritize, you know, different attributes. This version of him might not work so well for you if you're more focused on the most important defending and physical attributes, but if you like this version of him, if you like him just have a bit more technical ability, a bit more acceleration and stamina, this could be a really appealing card. It's a good centre-back on the whole. Like I said, the defending's strong enough. He's pretty strong defensively. Good pace. Physical strength is fine. Heading's a little bit low. Jumping, like I say, the vertical reach isn't amazing, so he's not going to be dominant in the air, but not many other versions of Upamecano have got the acceleration to really back up the speed that he's got, and the stamina as well. So on the whole, this is a good version of Upamecano. I think it's a very good build-up centre-back. There are one or two areas where I'd like him to be a bit better, but beggars can't be choosers. This is a good centre-back card. If you don't already have a good version of Upamecano, it's a good one to pick up. But I think most of us have one by now. There's been a few free ones by now. Most recently, the Tsubasa one. That Tsubasa one's a destroyer. But like I say, though, this one's been boosted in certain areas. It might not be as good with the defensives and physicals, but boosted in other areas. So if you like the way this guy's been boosted, if you like the profile he's been given, it's a very interesting version of Upamecano. It's a bit different to other ones. And I think it's a very good centre-back on the whole. And again, I almost forgot. Of course, he's got a face scan by now. He's had that for years. So yeah, good centre-back on the whole. It might not be the best version of Upamecano for everyone, but I think for a lot of people it might well be. He's a good centre-back. He's got through passing as well, obviously. If you prefer that to acrobatic clearance, you like the profile he's got, this could be a really good centre-back to pick up. And we have two Bayern players. So our second Bayern player, we've got Michael Olise, and they've made him a whole player. Got his face scan, of course. He's normally a roaming flank. They've made him a whole player on this card. There was a previous Champions League Player of the Week whole player that was very similar. So again, it's very similar to the previous one. Same kind of profile. We've got a bit more speed and king power on this one, but apart from that, really similar to the previous one, to be honest. Not a lot of difference I can see. There was a booster Champions League Player of the Week card as well this season of Olise. That was a roaming flank. That's his regular playing style. Again, very similar on the whole in terms of the attributes. Bit more pace on this one before you activate the boost on that one, but when you activate the booster on the whole, that one's just a little bit, you know, he gets a bit more speed back, and he's kind of probably slightly better on the whole, but again, pretty similar really. If you look at trainable versions, we've got a lot of different trainable versions. He used to be a playmaker. He's now a roaming flank. We've had a few versions, one or two that really aren't on the same level as this, but it looks like, to be honest, I mean, there was a Showtime one. I think that's pretty obviously the best one. That's a creative playmaker though, but the one in the new Bayern pack looks like it might be the best apart from that Showtime one. I'm going to do a review of that one separately. That video hopefully will go live in the next day or two. Depends on how much time I get over the weekend. But yeah, that new Bayern version, trainable version, looks like it's one of the best trainable versions, and it is a roaming flank, whereas a lot of the previous trainable versions are creative playmaker. Overall, I've only had a quick look, but overall it looks similar to this one, overall ability really. So yeah, this is looking like a good version of Olise, but there are a few other versions of them that are pretty similar. Where they're boosting from his GP card. Awareness, finishing, speed, kicking power, stamina, and of course on an attacking player, these defensives and physicals are up a bit as well. Great. But they have nerfed him a bit on the ball. So there's the one downside with this version of Olise. He's not as good on the ball as he normally is. They often do that with these attacking players and wingers. I don't understand it. It's annoying, but he is still good enough on the ball, to be fair. The ball control and dribbling is still going to be 90 plus with your game plan boost. Tight possession is going to be 89 with the maximum boost. So still good on the ball. Awareness and finishing are good. They've had a bit of a boost. Passing is not brilliant. So I don't think I'll be putting him through the middle. Centre middle attacker mid for me, as passing is not good enough. But out wide, certainly. Wide right is an inverted winger. Good enough. I just realised this guy's a booster, actually. Let's activate the booster. So, yeah, okay. So you get a few points back in your ball control at least. Kicking power, nice. I mean, that's been boosted, so that's nice. You got very good kicking power for a Michael Olise card. Physically, bit of physical strength, that's good. And then finishing's even higher. So, yeah, nice enough booster. What is that? Shooting? Shooting, there you go. Yeah. So he has been nerfed a bit on the ball, but certainly on A form, he's still very decent on the ball. Still good. Still got pace, balance, bit of physical strength there. The awareness and finishing. This is a nice looking version of Olise. Like I say, it's up there with the better ones. I would say the Showtime and possibly the Bayern pack may be slightly better, but I'm not sure about the Bayern pack yet. It looks pretty similar on the whole. With the whole player playing style, though, as a right midfielder, that will be an active playing style at right midfield. He won't be active right as a wide forward, right or left, although you can still play him there. I think he's definitely more suited to playing on the right because he's not going to have a great cross with 77 lofted pass, even with pinpoint crossing, which he does have. So yeah, he won't have a terrible cross, but it won't be good enough for me. I think he's definitely going to be on wide right. Not got the crossing to play on the left or the passing through the middle, but wide right looks very interesting. That attacking awareness over 80 before the game plan boost. He's got the finishing, good on the ball, pace, balance. Skill-wise, what they've done skills, they have taken away, I think, a low lofted pass, and they've given him long-range shooting. That's a decent trade. So we've got long-range curler, we've got long-range shooting. He's got a couple of good shooting skills there. He's going to have a good shot on him, especially on A form. Finishing 82 normally, 85 on A form. Long-range shooting and long-range curler coming off that right flank onto his left foot. He's going to have a very nice long-range curler. The curl's good and the kicking power is good as well. So yeah, long-range curlers with this guy could be very, very effective. He's got through passing. Heel check and outside curler. Yeah, nice selection skills on this guy. I think as an inverted wing, come off that right wing, especially as a right midfielder with a whole player playing style active, with good attacking awareness, making a lot of good attacking runs into spaces. Technically, athletically, he's got pretty much everything you need. I would just like his passing to be a bit better, but that's being picky, to be honest, because elsewhere he looks very good. This is a very good version of Olise. I like the playing style on a right midfielder. And yeah, on the whole, I think it's really good. I think it's comparable to most of the better versions, just that Showtime and the new Bayern one are probably the two better trainable versions, and they're around about a similar level. Probably Showtime's a bit better, and the Bayern one looks pretty similar on the whole. But like I say, I'll review that Bayern one in the next video I do. That's going to be hopefully the next day or two. But this does look like a very nice version of Olise as a whole player right midfielder. The qualities he's got, certainly cutting onto his left foot and getting shots away, could be very, very effective. I think it's a pretty nice looking Olise card, this. Next we have the 5,317th Player of the Week version of Erling Haaland. So what is there to say with Haaland? There have been so many versions in Player of the Week. This is the first Champions League Player of the Week card he's had, I think. I think the one thing to say about this Haaland card, sorry I can't speak probably, Haaland card, is he's better on the ball than he normally is. That for me is the one thing that stands out. Apart from that, it's pretty much par for the course for a Haaland card. It's not got as good awareness as he normally does, but on the ball, I can only see one Player of the Week version that's as good on the ball, and that was a Norway one. You could obviously train certain Haaland cards to be better on the ball, but you end up sacrificing points elsewhere. Trainable wise, there are some better trainable ones, especially the Showtime ones, but it just depends. Like I say, with these Player of the Week cards, you can't train them. It's just a question of how they balance the attributes out, and this is a version of Haaland where he's a bit better on the ball, but just not quite as good in some other areas. I think primarily it's the awareness. They've taken, I think, 8 points off his awareness from his GP card in terms of the auto allocation. So that could be, you could see it as a big negative, but he's still going past 90 with the game plan boost, and he is better on the ball than he normally is. I think they boost his passing a bit as well. His heading's had a bit of a boost, and his jumping, and his stamina. So yeah, not necessarily the best version of Haaland. It's pretty much par for the course in terms of his overall ability for a Player of the Week card. There have been Showtimes, a few trainable ones that are a bit better overall, but in terms of the profile they're giving him, the boost they're giving him, I think it could be a pretty appealing one to a lot of people. Like I say, on the ball, the ball control and dribbling, hitting the 80 mark with the game plan boost, the awareness will still get to 90, finishing already over 90. He's got good pace, he's got really good physical strength. The balance is always horrible on Haaland. It's actually lower on quite a lot of previous versions, so it could be worse, but it's still pretty horrible. You're going to have to be careful to make sure you set him up properly, get him in a good position to get shots away. Don't rush your shots with him, but yeah, apart from that, big, physical, quick, better on the ball than he normally is. Obviously got the awareness and finishing, unwavering form. And what they've done skill-wise, they've given him a long-range curler, so that's a big addition on Haaland. They've taken away, I think, chip shot control. I think we can live without that. Long-range curler is a big addition, so you've got heading, you've got aerial. It doesn't always have aerial superiority. I guess that's on his GP card now, because that doesn't look new. Heading and aerial, acrobatic finish, he's going to be good from crosses. Not amazing though, again, he's tall, 6'4", I think, but 74 jumping. His vertical reach won't be amazing, but he's very physically strong and he's got aerial, so yeah, and with the boost he's had on his heading and jumping, better in the air than he often is. So one of the better versions of Haaland in the air, obviously apart from that bullet header one. They did a bullet header one, I think. But yeah, should be pretty good from crosses. But then with his feet, first time shot, long range curler, long range shooting, rising shot if you like that. Heel kick's a handy one. Fighting spirit as well. Nice. This is a nice version of Haaland. It's not the best, it's not the highest rated certainly, but in terms of the overall profile, the way they balanced out the attributes and the skills he's got, especially with long range curler being thrown in, this for me is one of the more appealing versions of Haaland, and I'd be very pleased if I got this card. I think it's a really good version of him. And that Fox in the Box playing style as well, I always say that playing style, Fox in the Box for me, is the best playing style for getting on the end of crosses. Target men just aren't mobile enough for me with their movement. Goal poachers just don't tend to get in the right position. They make their runs a bit too early, but Fox in the Box, in my experience, they time their runs best to get on the end of crosses. So the fact he's a bit better in the air than he normally is, and a bit better on the ball than he normally is, I think the profile he's got with the playing style, the skills, the attributes, it all comes together very nicely. And this is one of the most appealing versions of Haaland that I've seen, I think. So yeah, of course he's got his face scan before I forget. So yeah, on the whole, is it the best version of Haaland? Maybe it's not, but for a lot of people, it could be one of the better ones. And for me personally, I think it's a very good version. And as an all-rounder who can do a bit of everything, yeah, it's a good Haaland card, a very good Haaland card. If for some reason you don't already have a good version of him, this could be a great one to pick up. And our last card is our last booster. We've got Vitinha from PSG. Let's just activate the booster straight away. What do we get? Ball control, tight possession, physical contact balance. What's that? Ball protection? Ball protection, there you go. Got a face scan, of course. Yeah, he's a quality little player, this guy. Unwavering form as well. So as an orchestrator, we have had a couple of Player of the Week cards. One was a box-to-box and one was a whole player. I've got the whole player. I like using that guy as an attacking mid. I think that's the one thing with this guy, is that he's quite often, I think most people, maybe not most people, a lot of people prefer him as an attacking midfielder because he's not that great defensively as a centre midfielder. He's an orchestrator this time, which means if you play him as a centre midfielder, he will hang back quite a bit. He won't be making too many attacking runs. But what they have done with this good version of Vitinha is they have made him a lot better defensively and physically than he normally is. The physical strength and the defensives are higher than they are on any other version I can see of him. So those two previous Player of the Week ones, box to box and whole player, they don't quite have the defensive or physical boost, but they do have better low pass than this one. That's not to say this one's not got good low pass though, because you're still going to hit 90 with your maximum game plan boost. So you've still got good passing on this one, but it's not as high as it is on previous ones. But the boost you have had, like I say, defending and physical attributes. So it depends on what the priority is. To be honest, we've got a bit more. Actually, he's been boosting in a few areas compared to those previous Player of the Weeks. So he's got a bit more speed as well, and kicking power, and finishing. So yeah, not just the defending and physical. So this I think on the whole, this is a slightly better version of the previous two, but it just depends on the profile, the playing style as well. If you prefer box to box, if you prefer a whole player, the one I've got is the whole player, and I've used him in co-op a few times as an attacking mid. Can be very neat, really nice passing. Still not nice enough passing on this, even if it's a bit lower. But like I say, it depends on the profile you want on him, to be honest. There's a similar story with the trainables. They tend to have a bit more on the passing, but they don't tend to have the speed, the finishing, and of course the defending and physical attributes. So it depends on how you want to use him and which attributes you find important. So if you want a version of Vitinha who's more suited to playing deeper with, especially with the orchestrated playing style, a bit more physical strength and defensive ability, this could be a nice one to have for you. This could be a really nice version to have. But if you prefer a more attacking version, especially if the player's an attacking mid, it might not suit you as well as previous versions of him. Skill-wise, still no defensive skills there as well. So even though they're boosting him a bit defensively and physically, where's interception? I'd really like interception. I mean, if he's not good at interception and intercepting in real life, then fair enough. But just in terms of where this card will be effective as a centre mid, yes, boosted in terms of some of the attributes, but no defensive skills. That's a big shame. I still would look at this guy, even with the way they've kind of balanced out the attributes. I would still look at this guy as being better as an attacking midfielder, in my personal opinion. You won't have an active playing style there. Not got particularly high attacking awareness. So I don't know how good his attacking movement would be. His finishing is not great either. So yeah, I don't know with this guy. I'm kind of torn. I'm not sure he's cut out for playing centre, but I think the best way to use him might be if you've got a couple of midfielders behind him doing the defensive work. But if you've got two midfielders behind him and you've got this guy as a centre mid with the orchestrated playing style, you're going to have a big gap between your midfield and your attack. I'm just not sure how effective he'd be in that role. Maybe it's best if you had just one midfielder behind him and you've got someone either SS or IMF bridging the gap between the midfield and the attack, in which case you're relying on him to do the quite a bit of defensive work, and I would say he's not quite cut out for that, but that's opinion. You might say that he's fine as an orchestrator playing as centre midfield, and if he is for you, then he's a very good card. Technically, certainly great on the ball, great passing, even if it's not as high as his passing often is. A bit more mobile than the off he is. He's had a bit of a boost to his speed. I'm looking at his on eFootball Hub on the skills on his GP card, just seeing now what they've changed. I think Sombrero's gone. What have they added? Dipping shot's gone as well. So they must have added a couple of skills here. What have they added? Weighted pass? Did he not already have that? Interesting. Penalty specialist. In fact, I think the skills are messed up on eFootball Hub, so don't quote me on those, but you've got pretty much the skills you normally expect on, and non-range curl is a nice one to have. I'm not sure if that's a new one, but certainly one-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, outside curl and hill trick. He's lovely on the ball. You can see what kind of player he is. He's a little guy, low centre of gravity, bit more speed than he normally does. Technically lovely, even though his passing is not as good as it normally is. It's just a question of whether you prefer this guy as a deep line playmaker where he could be very effective for you, just arguably isn't quite good enough defensively, even though they boosted him with putting more points on his defensive and physical attributes, or whether you prefer him as an attacking midfielder, kind of take the shackles off him by deactivating that playing style, but would he have the attacking worse and the finishing to be a good attacking mid? I'm not sure. I think he could be a good option in either role. It just depends on what works for you and what doesn't. It will depend on how you like to set your midfield up, but there's a couple of ways you could use this version of Vitinha. If the profile they're giving him works for you, it could be a really nice card in either role, because like I say, in my experience, he's got that low centre of gravity, he's nimble, he's neat on the ball, technically very nice, he's got a lovely pass on him, so yeah, it might not necessarily work for everyone in either of those positions, but I think for a lot of people it could be a really nice version of Vitinha to pick up. So there's your Champions League selection. I think it's a reasonable one. I think you've got some good cards in there. Vitinha, not going to suit everyone the profile they're giving him, but I think for quite a few people it could be a really good version of him. Could be a really nice card to have in your midfield. Haaland, I think it's just another Haaland card, but I think the profile they're giving him, the way the attributes are all balanced out with the play style and the skills, I think that's actually a really good version of Haaland. Olise, there are a few other versions that are similar, but it's a good version of him as a whole player as well, which might really work for his right midfielder. For me, I think that's a really nice Olise card. Upamecano, again, it depends on what you kind of prioritise in terms of the attributes. If you want an Upamecano card, it's just like an out-and-out defender, you want the defending and physical attributes, it might not be the best version for you, but if you prefer a more well-rounded version with the attributes all kind of balanced out a bit better, a bit more acceleration, stamina, could be a really good centre-back for you. Got a couple more centre-backs there, which are both good, but I just don't think they're amazing. They're just kind of solid centre-back cards. Brahim Díaz, if the profile works for you, could be a good version, but there are one or two better ones, and I think that one that's currently in that national team pack, whatever it's called, I would say it's slightly better. Not a massive difference though. Paixão, does the playing style suit him? No, not in my opinion, but it could still be a very nice card for a lot of people as an inverted ring off the left flank. Gustaf Nilsson, wasn't impressed by his dive against Atalanta, but if you like target men, could be a solid one. Not amazing in my opinion. I don't think he's quite dominant enough in the air, but he's a big dude and he's certainly going to be very decent from crosses. Perišić, if you like a cross specialist, not an amazing card, but a solid one, could be a useful option. And then a bang average goalkeeper, to be honest. He's not a bad one by any means, but it's just not a particularly exciting one. So yeah, on the whole, as is always the case with these packs, it's a bit better than the regular Player of the Week one. There's certainly some good cards in there. I think for a lot of people, it could be some at least one or two very appealing cards in there. So yeah, there you go. Hopefully you found it useful. Let me know who you spun. Let me know what you think of the pack. As I mentioned at the start, there's already the regular Player of the Week pack review live on the channel if you've not seen that already. And next up, I'll start working on the Bayern review. I'll review all the new Bayern players. So I'll review that do the Bayern video next. Hopefully that'll be live maybe sometime tomorrow. That's Sunday. Otherwise Monday. And then there's one or two more videos to come as well. And then it'll be Thursday again, Player of the Week. And I might even do another stream at some point. So yeah, jump in the Discord if you're not already in there. Thank you for watching as always. Really appreciate it. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you soon.